All right. I am just taking this stuff off real quick here.
Sounds good to me.
And we're watching an interview with Laura Romney. And is this through Odyssey? Is this Odyssey
Odyssey
College?
House,
Hmm.
I think. It's someplace over there in Utah that she went and did like a podcast interview for.
Super
Because we
cool.
know it's on and popping in Utah. If you
Yeah.
don't know, there's currently a senator that's trying to reverse the Kratom Consumer Protection Act there. So
That's awful.
now we're having to counter advocate.
This should be good though. I've been waiting to see this.
Yeah, I haven't watched none of it.
All right, here we go.
We are dealing with a controversial topic today on Odyssey House Journals. And I want to start out by saying that Odyssey House in no way endorses or opposes what we're talking about today. And I think it's important to take notice of that, because this is a podcast dealing with addiction and recovery, and we want to consider all aspects of addiction and recovery, and this is one aspect. So saying all that, I don't want to be sued or have somebody say, "Oh, you said that this is a solution." Okay, we're talking about Kratom, Kratom.
Yes, and some
right?
people say it kratom. So you get kratom,
Okay.
There's lots of different ways that people say that. But
Welcome to another edition of Odyssey House Journals. I'm your host, Randall Carlisle. My co-host, Nicole Slack, and Laura Romney is our guest today. Why don't you tell me what you think about Kratom, not as it deals with addiction, but what value does Kratom have? Because there are people with negative views of Kratom
Sure.
and people with positive views.
sure, absolutely. So, I found myself years ago coming across kratom because what my situation was is I have a really rare condition called trigeminal neuralgia, which is a chronic facial nerve disease that actually is deemed one of the most painful conditions that a person can get.
Do you have pain in your face?
I actually do. The top half, I'm kind of rare. A lot of people have it in their jaws, but the whole top half of my face feels like you can imagine an ice cream headache that never goes away.
Whoa.
That's that deep, that when you get that ice cream headache, that's the trigeminal nerve that's being activated. And so that burny feeling that you get is what I get on my face 24/7. I've had this for almost 14 years. I've dealt with this. And so it's just absolutely debilitating.
Is it genetic, or what does
No,
it come from?
no. Some people have it come from a trauma, from an accident, from dental work. Sometimes they'll have that happen. In my situation, I honestly do not know what triggered mine. I simply woke up with it one day, and it's just never gone away. And I, started like anybody else with a chronic condition or a condition that pops up. Of course, I went through every modality trying to come up with what was wrong. It took me a year to get diagnosed, went to 5 different neurologists, finally was able to get diagnosed. And I was very convinced that I was going to be able to find a cure for this or come out of this. And I then proceeded to do everything under the sun. I mean, I probably ended up in the end of the day taking over 30 different pharmaceuticals, not at the same time, but cycling through them. Did things like Botox. I had numerous blocks where they put hoses up my nose to shoot a lidocaine into my brain. Into that neuro region. I went through everything, and I was so ill that I was up at the University of Utah Hospital about once every 10 days getting IVs for the pain because I was a 10 and could not stop. I was actually even admitted for a week into ICU up at the University of Utah Hospital. So I was really bad. And finally, they did a very invasive procedure called the microvascular decompression surgery, where they actually went into my brain and they decompressed the nerve in my brain to try to put a little cushion in there to try to relieve that pressure from the nerve onto the artery. And so I survived that, and that helped a little bit. I've never gotten quite as bad as before that surgery, but it still just did not resolve the pain. And then I resorted to getting a stimulator implanted in my face. So I had a battery pack in my chest with implants in my face to try to stimulate the nerve to try to help the pain. So you can imagine, I literally went through everything. Wow. And years back, before medical cannabis was here in Utah, I thought for sure medical cannabis would be the thing for me because it had helped a lot of people. And so I actually fought and volunteered as an advocate back then to bring medical cannabis here to Utah for patients. And when I was able to finally appropriately try cannabis, it just didn't work for me. It did not help my pain. It actually made my anxiety go up. And I did not like the altered feeling that it gave me. And I got no relief. So I was just distraught. I was like, I'm out of options. There's nothing left for me. I was in pain management. They were giving me 2 oxycodone per day. But if you're familiar with oxycodone, it only lasts for about 4 to 6 hours. Well, you have a 24-hour period of time. So I had to decide whether or not I was going to sleep at night or I was going to function in the day. And they would not give me any more medication.
Because of the fear of addiction.
Because of the fear of addiction. Okay. So I was desperate. And I thought, they call it the suicide disease for a reason because people get to that point where you're just miserable. So I had heard about this plant kratom from a friend of mine that actually lives in Iowa. And he had said to me, you got to try this. It actually works. And I thought, well, I've tried everything else. So I ordered the powdered plant and I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And I tried it and I couldn't believe it. Within 20 minutes, my pain had dropped. And honestly, I couldn't believe it because I didn't want to even tell my husband that I was taking it because he had gone through this whole journey with me and I didn't want to get his hopes up. So after about a week of me really being able to take this, and by the way, I instantly dropped to 1 opioid per day the minute I started that. And so I was able to take a morning dose of an opioid and then the rest of the day and through the night, well, I didn't even need it at night, I was able to sleep. I could take kratom and it helped. So
how long ago was this?
This was 8 years ago.
And you still do it?
It still
is effective?
Absolutely, yes. And I still take the same dose as I did back then. So it's been a real miracle for me. I was able to, again, drop off of all of my opioids, which has been a real blessing. And so I'm able to control my pain without that. All full disclosure, I do have a pain prescription for the severe flares, but I usually only have to take like 1 pill about once a month. So that tells you that amazing transition I was able to make out of a substance that. And
you brought some kratom with you.
I did.
Where do you, first of all, describe what kratom is? It's from a plant, right?
It is. It's from a tree that's in Indonesia and Thailand. It's grown there. It's a very wet climate where a lot of humidity, and so it doesn't typically grow here. There's some places in Florida and Hawaii where there are some places, but most of the time it is imported. So they actually take the leaves off of the tree and they dry the plant and put it into just a powder. That's all it is. And then they import it here to the United States. It's put into, all it is a dried plant leaf. And then some manufacturers put it into an extract. So they actually but it is still plant material. It's just using like an alcohol-based, extracted. So it's more of a potent thing. And you find that in more of like the little shots and things that are definitely stronger. So, you obviously, when there's anything that's an extract, it's going to be stronger than the plain plant. So you want to always look and follow those instructions on the label. But
how do you ingest it?
So
Can you pause? Yeah. Is it, Jen?
Why don't you try and do it on yours? Try and do it on yours.
Did you see?
Because
it's glitchy on my end, and I even went to
look on my phone. Yeah, it's glitchy on my phone, but it's not like when I'm watching it. It's like, that's always how it happens.
I can't with that.
Hold on, let me take this off.
Send me that link.
It'll hold on.
Do you know what minute we left off on? We'll just restart it.
We were like in the 8-minute mark. Because I don't know how long it was glitchy.
Okay, yeah, see, I always try to pay attention to that. And then I'll go into the YouTube live or the X live, and I could see that it was still glitching over there.
I
So-
just hope it wasn't like glitchy the whole damn time. Not long, she said, Jen.
Okay.
Thanks,
Did you
Jen.
send? Okay. Yeah, we can't deal with that
That's a good
glitchiness.
interview, though, so far.
I know.
It
What?
just started glitching for her.
You sent me.
What? Hold on.
You sent me. You sent me the live stream link. Girl.
Hold on.
Ah,
Hold on. I got it right here.
I mean, we could rewatch
Dude,
our live stream
only-
link, see how
only
glitchy
me,
it was.
dude. Only me. You know what, though? I just posted that on my Facebook comments.
Okay.
Oh, today's bad. It's been a weekend, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
it has. It has.
I'm old. Oh. Is it cold where you're at, Jen? I've seen it snowing like everywhere, but I mean, I wish it would snow here when it's school day, so. It's cold, but it ain't snowing. Destiny the right one that time?
I'm checking.
Okay.
Is that the right one? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now we're cooking. Hopefully.
We are dealing with a controversial topic today on Odyssey House Journals. And I
Okay.
want to start out by saying that Odyssey House in no way endorses or opposes what we're talking about today. And I think it's important to take notice of that, because this is a podcast dealing with addiction and recovery, and we want to consider all aspects of addiction and recovery, and this is one aspect. So saying all that, I don't want to be sued or have somebody say, "Oh, you said that this is a solution." Okay, we're talking about Kratom, Kratom.
Yes, and some
right?
people say it kratom. So you get kratom, you know.
Okay.
There's lots of different ways that people say that. But
Welcome to another edition of Odyssey House Journals. I'm your host, Randall Carlisle. My co-host, Nicole Slack, and Laura Romney is our guest today, who, why don't you tell me what you think about Kratom, not as it deals with addiction, but what value does Kratom have? Because there are people with negative views of Kratom
Sure.
and people with positive views.
Sure, absolutely. So, I found myself years ago coming across Kratom because what my situation was is I have a really rare condition called trigeminal neuralgia, which is a chronic facial nerve disease that actually is deemed one of the most painful conditions that a person can get.
Do you have pain in your face?
I
or-
actually do. The top half, I'm kind of rare. A lot of people have it in their jaws, but the whole top half of my face feels like you can imagine an ice cream headache that never goes away.
Whoa.
That's that deep, that when you get that ice cream headache, that's the trigeminal nerve that's being activated. And so that burny feeling that you get is what I get on my face 24/7. I've had this for almost 14 years. I've dealt with this. And so it's just absolutely debilitating.
Is it genetic, or what does it come from?
No, some people have it come from a trauma, from an accident, from dental work. Sometimes they'll have that happen. In my situation, I honestly do not know what triggered mine. I simply woke up with it one day, and it's just never gone away. And I, started like anybody else with a chronic condition or a condition that pops up. Of course, I went through every modality trying to come up with what was wrong. It took me a year to get diagnosed, went to 5 different neurologists, finally was able to get diagnosed. And I was very convinced that I was going to be able to find a cure for this or come out of this. And I then proceeded to do everything under the sun. I mean, I probably ended up in the end of the day taking over 30 different pharmaceuticals, not at the same time, but cycling through them. Did things like Botox. I had numerous blocks where they put hoses up my nose to shoot a lidocaine into my brain. Into that neuro region. I went through everything, and I was so ill that I was up at the University of Utah Hospital about once every 10 days getting IVs for the pain because I was a 10 and could not stop. I was actually even admitted for a week into ICU up at the University of Utah Hospital. So I was really bad. And finally, they did a very invasive procedure called the microvascular decompression surgery, where they actually went into my brain and they decompressed the nerve in my brain to try to put a little cushion in there to try to relieve that pressure from the nerve onto the artery. And so I survived that, and that helped a little bit. I've never gotten quite as bad as before that surgery, but it still just did not resolve the pain. And then I resorted to getting a stimulator implanted in my face. So I had a battery pack in my chest with implants in my face to try to stimulate the nerve to try to help the pain. So you can imagine, I literally went through everything. Wow. And years back, before medical cannabis was here in Utah, I thought for sure medical cannabis would be the thing for me because it had helped a lot of people. And so I actually fought and volunteered as an advocate back then to bring medical cannabis here to Utah for patients. And when I was able to finally appropriately try cannabis, it just didn't work for me. It did not help my pain. It actually made my anxiety go up. And I did not like the altered feeling that it gave me. And I got no relief. So I was just distraught. I was like, I'm out of options. There's nothing left for me. I was in pain management. They were giving me 2 oxycodone per day. But if you're familiar with oxycodone, it only lasts for about 4 to 6 hours. Well, you have a 24-hour period of time. So I had to decide whether or not I was going to sleep at night or I was going to function in the day. And they would not give me any more medication.
Because of the fear of addiction.
Because of the fear of addiction. Okay. So I was desperate. And I thought, they call it the suicide disease for a reason because people get to that point where you're just miserable. So I had heard about this plant kratom from a friend of mine that actually lives in Iowa. And he had said to me, you got to try this. It actually works. And I thought, well, I've tried everything else. So I ordered the powdered plant and I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And I tried it and I couldn't believe it. Within 20 minutes, my pain had dropped. And honestly, I couldn't believe it because I didn't want to even tell my husband that I was taking it because he had gone through this whole journey with me. Sure. And I didn't want to get his hopes up. So after about a week of me really being able to take this, and by the way, I instantly dropped to 1 opiate per day the minute I started that. And so I was able to take a morning dose of an opioid and then the rest of the day and through the night, well, I didn't even need it at night. I was able to sleep. I could take kratom and it helped. So
how long ago was this?
This was 8 years ago.
And you still do it?
I still
it still is effective?
Absolutely, yes. And I still take the same doses I did back then. So it's been a real miracle for me. I was able to, again, drop off of all of my opioids, which has been a real blessing. And so I'm able to control my pain without that. All full disclosure, I do have a pain prescription for the severe flares, but I usually only have to take like 1 pill about once a month. So that tells you that amazing transition I was able to make out of a substance that. And
you brought some kratom with you.
I did.
Where do you, first of all, describe what kratom is? It's from a plant, right?
It is. It's from a tree that's in Indonesia and Thailand. It's grown there. It's a very wet climate where a lot of humidity, and so it doesn't typically grow here. There's some places in Florida and Hawaii where there are some places, but most of the time it is imported. So they actually take the leaves off of the tree and they dry the plant and put it into just a powder. That's all it is. And then they import it here to the United States. It's put into, all it is a dried plant leaf. And then some manufacturers put it into an extract. So they actually take but it is still plant material. It's just using like an alcohol-based, extracted. So it's more of a potent thing. And you find that in more of like the little shots and things that are definitely stronger. So, you obviously, when there's anything that's an extract, it's going to be stronger than the plain plant. So you want to always look and follow those instructions on the label. But
How do you ingest it?
so I take mine and I put it into water. I have a little blender bottle. I dump about a half a teaspoon into my blender bottle. The dose depends on, people's weights, lots of different things. But my dose is about 1.5 grams I take to 2 grams. And I put that in water, shake it up, and drink it. And
What's it taste like?
Imagine what a dried leaf would taste like. It doesn't taste good. It's kind of got a bitter taste. Some people mix it in with orange juice, and I doctor it up with some water flavoring. So, and then, take a mint or something after, because it's not really appealing for sure. Not something like kids would ever want to drink.
How much does it cost?
The Structure Motorized Pergola System is reinventing the way homeowners experience the outdoors. The most versatile, modern, useful outdoor patio space ever designed.
No!
It creates the perfect blend of
I forgot
So,
that.
interestingly, and good question. If you were to buy it in typical places here in Utah over the counter, so if you were able to go into like a convenience store or a smoke shop, which is where they're sold, and they're sold behind the counter as adult use only, because that is the rule here. That is the law here in Utah. It only is an adult 21 and up. So you have to be carded to be able to purchase this. Once I purchase that, it is a lot more expensive at those facilities. So most of the time, if you are, a constant consumer, you will order online, and it's a lot cheaper. So for me, it costs me on an average of about probably $40 to $50 a month for my, to be able to consume Kratom. So it's another very reasonable option. And for me, it's great because I've been able to come off all of my other medications. I'm not taking any others. So it's been a real blessing for me.
Now so in Utah, it's legal to buy
Correct.
if you're 21.
That is correct.
Neighbor.
Yes. We have what they call the Kratom Consumer Protection Act that has been passed. It was 2016, 2017, it was passed. And Utah was actually the very first state in the nation to pass that law. And we had our, sponsored by Utah senators, and it was voted in, and it's been in place ever since. Utah is really an amazing state. We are kind of the flagship state for the whole nation because we've really done it right. We have got it. Our Department of Agriculture is who oversees that. And we actually have, if you can even go online and see, there's a product registration so that everything that is allowed to be sold here in the state is on that registration list. So the inspectors can go in and make sure that, stores are in compliance. They're, selling it behind the counter. They're labeled correctly. So that's the other portion of the KCPA, that it says you need to have product that's properly labeled, and it shows dosages, it shows what's in it, the content of the different alkaloids that are inside there, so people know what they're purchasing. Like for instance, on this package, you can see on the back, it has a batch number, it has suggested uses, it has the suggested dosing. It also has the appropriate FDA notifications for any dietary supplement that are on there. So if you would feel safe ingesting this product, saying, hey, this has been safe, this has been tested, I know there's no heavy metals or salmonella, and you're able to, feel comfortable. So that's what we want here in the state, because we don't want anybody coming in, purchasing something in a baggie that would not know what they're purchasing. So
Now, some states have banned it.
that's correct.
Why?
Good question. So interestingly enough, you have to go back to history to about 2016. So the FDA at that point had Kratom became on their radar. They were like, this is a drug of concern, and they didn't really know what it was. And
Gas
so,
station heroin.
yes, well, and that's another thing we'll cover. But they were concerned about Kratom. So what they did as any product of concern, they say, we're going to shoot this to the DEA because we think this product needs to be scheduled. So what the DEA does at that point is they do what they call an 8-factor analysis. So basically what that is they go in and they study all these different factors that say whether or not the substance should be scheduled. The DEA took their time, did the A-factor analysis, came back and said, based on our findings, this does not meet scheduling qualifications. And for the first time in the history of the DEA, they kicked back the request for scheduling and said this does not qualify. So what had happened is when the FDA had said this, there were several states that were sure this was going to get banned. So they just jumped on the bandwagon and just started banning. And so now that those bans have kind of stuck in some of those states. But Rhode Island this past year just overturned their ban that was set back in 2016, and it will now be legal in Rhode Island starting on April 1st of 2026.
Okay, I understand your usage of it.
Yes.
But we obviously work at Odyssey House, and we deal with people who are addicted to whatever substance.
Correct.
And there are claims, right? I've read many of them that kratom can be used to help with the withdrawal symptoms from opioids.
Correct. Yes.
Has that ever been proven, or is that because I threw out slang-wise that people refer to it as gas station heroin.
Yes. And how that term got coined was way back then. There was actually a substance that's still out there now. A lot of places have banned it, called tianeptine. It's another real hazardous substance, and that was claimed it was gas station heroin. That was the original subject that got that name, but then some media person just jumped on that, and it's a great headline. It makes it sound all scary, but the reality of it is, and we'll talk a little bit about this, the real risk is the synthetic products that are coming out right now. And they are what are flooding the market. The 7-hydroxymitragynine, or 7-OH for short, those products really are, quote, in my opinion, they're closer to gas station heroin. Let me tell you why. They are 14 times stronger or even higher than morphine. And if you do not have the Kratom Consumer Protection Act passed in your state, which we do in Utah, you can go on over the counter, and most of them would ask for ID and such, but you can go and purchase these 7-OH products at a gas station or smoke shop.
And let me just ask a few questions.
Sure.
Okay, 7-OH, if you consume that, can you get high?
Yeah, so let me explain what 7-OH is first so you understand. So remember I talked about the actual kratom leaf. So the kratom plant, when you actually pull the leaf off the tree, there is no trace of 7-OH at all in the plant. But when it starts to dry, it starts to create this alkaloid. And so you get a trace amount of 7-OH in the actual plant. So in this package, it would be it would be less than 1% in most situations. So very, very small amounts. But what these 7-OH manufacturers have done is they have taken that trace element and they have basically treated it with, they've even said it on camera, with like chemicals that are used to do pool shock. And they will create a tablet. Most of the time it's in a tablet. They have lots of other types of varieties too. But they put them in a tablet and they're extremely potent. And so basically one little tiny tablet is like consuming massive amounts of the powder. So it's extremely powerful. And yes, absolutely can make you high because it is so powerful. And that, it really does have some addictive qualities because it has such a short half-life. So the hard part is that people are mixing up the two. Because a lot of the 7-OH manufacturers are going in and they're putting on their packaging that they say that it's an advanced kratom alkaloid. So people tend to think,
which is not a lie.
That's right. It's a trace amount. It's a synthetic product, but they have pulled it from a trace element in the plant. So it is they call it semi-synthetic, but the reality of it is it's a synthetic product.
So it gets you high, and can you get addicted to it?
Yes, you can. It does have pain. It does have a lot, obviously.
So you have withdrawal if you stop.
Yes, correct.
Would you have withdrawal if you stopped?
Now, if I did, because I've been an 8-year user, I would want to taper because typically for me, again, I don't take a high amount, but I might feel with a headache, I might feel a little fluish for a few days, but it's nothing like what an opiate withdrawal what you would go to. Now, that being said, if you were on, you were taking like the shots, like high amounts of the shots, you would definitely feel more because it's more, it's definitely a stronger product. And so again, you could withdraw from that by just tapering back, but you're not going to get that instant withdrawal where the 7-OH, the withdrawals are sudden. In fact, I have heard reports, this is just me, heard reports that once you start continually taking it, you can actually start to get withdrawals within 4 to 5 hours if you're a daily user. So it's very potent, and we definitely don't want that on the shelves. And so that's where Utah has done a good thing. That being said, I know there's a senator that is speaking about even making firmer rules for 7-OH so that, it becomes like a Schedule 1 or something.
Is there anything wrong with banning 7-OH in Utah?
Well, so that's a good question. So I don't believe so. So remember how we went back to the DEA, how they threw out the scheduling for that. So now, just this past year, the FDA has seen what's been going on. They've seen what's happening with 7-OH. By the way, 7-OH hit the market about 2.5 years ago, and it's just blowing up. Especially, again, Utah, you don't see it so much here, but in states where they are selling it, it's like 80% of what they're selling.
So you can't sell it here.
That is correct.
But you can buy it on the internet.
That you shouldn't be able to, but it's just like black market type thing. It happens.
So you've been on the same dose for how long?
8 years.
And you haven't built up a tolerance? And
No. Now, I also have gone into the mindset that, I'm not out to cure it. I'm not out to realize I'm not going to take my pain away. I know that. In fact, at my very best, I'm probably a level 3 in pain, but it pulls me down from anywhere between a 5 or a 3 to about a 5 or a 6, which is completely livable. But let me go back real quick and then I'll answer that. But I want to go back to what the FDA did and what they said. So this year, they said, we see what's happening with 7-OH. It's a real public health crisis. So they actually did on July 29th, you can look it up, the FDA and the Health and Human Services did a press conference where Commissioner McCary said, we are asking the DEA to schedule 7-OH as a Schedule 1 controlled substance. So they did the same thing that happened back with Kratom. They did the 8-factor analysis. That 8-factor analysis was turned in to the DEA on September 29th, and it does show that the recommendation is for 7-OH to be a scheduled product. And so we are just now we had the government shut down, which stalled things, but we're kind of expecting any time for the announcement to come out that the DEA will schedule 7-OH. And then once they do that, if it's an emergency scheduling, it will be off the shelves in the entire United States, no matter what.
Would it affect the sale of
No.
like what you're buying?
Absolutely not, because this is not a 7-OH product. This is just a pure Kratom product. One thing that the Kratom Consumer Protection Act does as well is it puts in a cap for 7-OH. Because, there could be products where, there's always manufacturers that say, I'm going to push the limits. I'm going to see how high I can go. Even though I'm not going to do a full 7-OH, product, I'm going to see how high I can go. No, if you have that cap in place, there's a ceiling and you can't go above that or you're against the law.
Would you say that Kratom has any relevance to somebody who is dealing with substance abuse?
Yeah. So let me tell you about a story about my friend Misty. She lives in Colorado, and she was a pain patient and had started getting on. They overprescribed her opioids back then, and she became addicted to them. And so after that, she started getting into harder substances, missed a pill count, and was cut off of pain management, and went to the streets and started buying harder substances. And so she was in full active addiction and really bad. So she decided, because again, she got pulled out of that pain prescription, she thought, I've heard about this Kratom. She walked down to the smoke shop, bought some Kratom, and took it, and not thinking much of it. And she said, I couldn't even believe it. Like 5 or 6 hours later, I was like, wait a minute, I didn't crave that hit. I didn't crave the the drug. And she
didn't
said, I
get
thought,
dope sick.
she said it was like somebody switched the light off and she just didn't have that craving. And so she's like, I honestly couldn't believe it. And she said, it was like my mind was finally settled because before, again, I have not been in active addiction with either alcohol or substances. But she said, you know, your mind is constantly going, when am I going to get that next hit, that next rush, that next drink, whatever it is. She said, it just shut that switch off. And I was able to do that. Now, she did start with a higher amount of kratom as she came off, but then was able to just taper down. So she takes it just a couple of times a week. She takes a break and she just has a little maintenance dose to keep her clean. And she's, you know, it's accountability too. As you know, with addiction, it's you've got to be ready. You've got to be in that mental place where you are saying, I am done. I want to change my life. And that's so hard when you're dealing with withdrawals. And, you know, but if you can find a substance that's, you know, been shown that does not have respiratory depression, that is, you know, going to help with those withdrawals, you know, it's definitely a good option for people.
You have any thoughts on that? You work with people in admissions all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess now I don't know what type of kratom they were taking.
That's the big question that you really
We've
need
had
to
people
ask.
Do we have people coming in who are?
weren't for just kratom, but kratom's been on the list. So, but now I have
So
a
when
better
we ask what
understanding
drug of choice, they list kratom.
And then what's interesting is some of these people could be, technically, they could be saying, I want to come off heroin, and they've tried kratom as, you know, maybe a tool to be able to help them come off. And so, yes, you could be seeing situations where it tested positive or they claimed.
I don't think we tested, but I definitely have had people say that that was one of their drugs of choice.
Okay.
But now with a better understanding, knowing I don't know which
Definitely
one.
ask the question
Right.
with the 7OH. And interestingly, some people may not, well, they may not know or they may not tell you because they're conflating the two. One thing that's interesting about the 7OH products is if you actually see them, they specifically name them after things that mimic narcotics. They have names like Opia and Perks and, you know, 7-ohms and all these things that have that allude to the fact that you're taking a narcotic. The other risky thing about them is they're actually creating products that are appealable to children. There's literally been ice cream cones, there's been gummies, they have packaging looks like a gummy, you know, that like Hulk type gummy that a child would want. So that's scary too. I've even seen it in like cough syrup format.
Wow.
It's, you know, it's definitely something that is there. And again, the difficult thing is if someone wants to abuse something, they're going to definitely want to go to the 7OH because that is the hit.
And I read that in our regular UAs, our drug screening panel, it doesn't test for kratom.
It doesn't, not that I'm aware.
Some don't. Yes.
So you have
it's
to
a-
specifically ask for
It
them.
is. It's a different
And
panel.
You'd have to pay more for that kind of test.
It's definitely a different panel that you would do,
Kratom would not be allowed in your houses.
No, not at all.
which would make sense
Yeah.
because you are, of course, you're in a controlled environment where you're helping them, you know, come off of these substances.
We also don't allow nicotine. So
There you
just
go.
teaching people to come off substances. But yeah, I think my concern would be replacing an addiction. So
Correct.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah, and
100%.
What concerns me is, and that's why we started out saying what I said, is we're not saying that, you know, okay, if you're watching or you have a loved one who is a heroin addict or fentanyl or whatever, we're not saying that this is a solution.
Right, right.
But I suppose.
But it has been for some. I know a gal who, again, she's 8 years clean off of she went to rehab 3 times with a heroin problem, and she has been now clean for, I believe it's over 8 years. And so it's, you know, it can be a solution for some, but again, it's definitely something you'd want to work with your doctor on. You'd want to, you have to be careful. And that's what I think the biggest thing I'd have to say today is personal accountability is everything. And, you know, I know people out there that drink 4 energy drinks a day. And I'm just like, whoa, you know, I mean, you know, no one should
Not
be
me.
drinking 4 energy drinks a day.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's personal accountability, and it's saying, you know, I'm not going to go out there and chase, but until that person is ready to go into recovery and they want to get that mindset, they're going to struggle, and no matter what it is, and they're going to go to the next substance and the next. And it's, addiction is it's a difficult
Disease.
solution.
Yes.
It is absolutely. It's just a hard thing. But, this is a situation again going back to the pain patient thing again. Right now, because of the whole opiate epidemic or the overprescribing that happened, all of the pain patients are being literally pulled off of their opiate prescriptions.
My girlfriend has chronic back pain,
Yep.
and she runs out of pills. But
Exactly. And so it's like, but yet you go to the pain management and they say, well, a lot of these doctors are risking their own licenses
Sure.
prescribing. There are pharmacies that won't fill it. Now you add on the fact, we all know addicts still get pain. And if anybody that's an addict, you go into the hospital or whatever, you're blacklisted. You're getting nothing. You're getting a Tylenol.
right.
And so that's where it makes it a really difficult thing too, because, whether you're an addict or a not addict, pain is a real thing. And people are literally having all of their options stripped away from them. They're not able to get pain medication anymore. I read story after story every single day where people are literally suicidal because they have been pulled off of, we're talking cold turkey pulled off. And you wonder why we have a problem with the fentanyl epidemic in this country. Well, there's one of it. You get somebody in that level of pain with zero help, especially if they've pulled them off of their opioid cold turkey, they're going to go to the street and you're going to end up with a fentanyl death.
Laura Romney, thank you very much for being our guest.
glad.
This has been.
I feel very informed now.
I do too.
You please call me with any questions you might have. And I really advise you to go to the www.americankratom.org to learn more, or kratomanswers.org. That's some really great information. I will definitely say that do your research, because you're going to get, like, for instance, you're going to get the first hit. If you Google it, you're going to see Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic says it's bad.
Right.
Well, Mayo Clinic hasn't done one single study. Johns Hopkins University and University of Florida, they're championing this. In fact, even NIDA has voiced their great respect for this plant and the potential it has. So
Her advice is perfect. Do research
yes,
before
research.
you do anything.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching and listening to another edition of Odyssey House Journals.
Dude, that theme song is pretty jamming. I ain't gonna lie, first of all. That was an amazing interview. You're on mute.
I know. I am so glad. I am so glad that, because I don't like watching, whenever we know we're going to live stream something, I don't like watching it beforehand.
Yeah.
She said my name.
I know. I love that. And she told your whole story.
Yeah, because that is what it did for me. When I found it, it was like it literally it shut that craving noise off in my brain. And for like I would say this all the time too. For like 5 or 6 hours, I did not once think to try to call my drug dealer. None of that stuff. So,
I didn't love the baseball. Yeah. But the whole point of that whole interview, and I love how Laura kept it on track and on focus and turned it around. But I mean, the whole point of that interview was to educate and not,
yes.
Try and turn someone one way or another. I mean, it was strictly to educate, and that's exactly what it did.
And the
Very
baseball
well.
cap lady had like a little aha moment.
Yeah,
You
like a
know?
little epiphany, like, oh.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So now we got videos that are hot off the press for
Never
Utah.
before seen.
I mean, it should be. I think it should be. I haven't watched these videos, so we're gonna watch them all together for the first time. There's gonna be more segments of this coming out, but it should be nationwide. Like, I don't know where this is gonna be blasted. Damn good and well I'm gonna blast this on my social medias.
Oh, yeah,
So-
totally. Oh, I'm going to take us off the screen when you share it so that we
Okay.
can get the full picture there.
Let me get to the thing.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see these because I hate seeing the anti-kratom commercials or whatever they are, ads, whatever.
Hmm.
All right,
So this says, can you see it?
yeah.
Okay, Utah has led America in responsible regulation on kratom since 2019. Now is the time to follow the facts over fear-mongering. What is the truth about kratom in Utah? So now we're gonna watch these these videos. So there's 3 of them right now.
Nice. Let's see. What's the first one? Leadership means listening.
These were professionally done. Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
Hi,
these
I'm
are
Matt
nice.
Salmon.
Matt!
I served 4 years in the Arizona State Senate and 10 years in the U.S. House of Representatives. One of the things that I learned very, very clearly was that as a representative of the people, you have a very strong responsibility to listen to all your constituents. That means even the ones that you don't agree with. Your job is to take all of the facts and then make a decision. Unfortunately, State Senator Mike McKell has said that he will not discuss his proposed kratom ban legislation with the American Kratom Association. I happen to chair the American Kratom Association. I find that very, very disappointing. One of the most important responsibilities of a servant of the people is to hear all of the things on all sides of any given issue, and also to hear all the facts. So far, Senator McKell has been unwilling to meet with the American Kratom Association. I don't believe that's a really responsible way to push legislation forward. It's incredibly important as a representative of the people that you represent the facts as facts and ideas and opinions as opinions. I used to say often, you're entitled to your own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And I'm very, very disappointed that much of the information that has come out from Senator McKell on the kratom issue is not factual. I have every confidence that the Utah legislature will listen to the facts and make the right decision, because this is going to impact a lot of people's lives one way or the other. And I know that you are going to listen to the science and follow the science, because that's what responsible people do. And I thank you for your time, and I know that you're going to do the right thing.
That was good.
Yo,
That
that
was
empty
good.
chair,
Yeah.
that empty chair spoke volumes.
Bro, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
You're
that's
so
where Mike
right.
McKell is supposed to be sitting. Because he won't. He won't speak to the American Kratom
But
Association
he knows
about
he's
why.
wrong.
Yeah. Okay, now video 2.
Yes, we went in and we're at a Maverick here and found out that they actually are doing it right. I was wondering the difference between how the 5-hour energy drinks would be sold and the liquid extract kratom shots would be sold. McKell is saying that, you know, anybody can walk in and purchase these without any problems. The 5-hour energy drinks did not have any barrier to them. They were right there at the counter. There was a display with the kratom products, and they were behind a plexiglass container to be able to purchase them, but you would actually have to have permission from the cashier to be able to grab those products and to purchase them. I'm Laura Romney, and I'm a longtime resident of Davis County, Utah. I have been using kratom for 9 years to control my facial nerve condition, trigeminal neuralgia. Kratom has given me freedom of life. It's given me the ability to function as a mom, as a grandma, as a wife, to be able to work, volunteer in the community, and even go bowling. Senator McKell wants people in Utah to believe that kratom consumers are consuming some dangerous, unknown substance that is hazardous to your health. Nothing could be further from the truth. Senator McKell purchased several products from the store shelves of Utah. Those products were tested, and all products were found to be compliant with state of Utah testing standards for kratom products. Utah's Kratom Consumer Protection Act is working. Now Senator McKell wants to criminalize Kratom consumers. Consumers like me, some of the most vulnerable in society, those that have chronic pain. By passing a ban here in Utah of Kratom products, he is turning me, a mom and a grandma who just wants pain control, into a criminal and a felon. Senator McKell recently told a legislative committee that a scientific human study on Kratom was funded by industry. This is untrue and incorrect.
Dude, I'm over here just cheering.
Man. Okay.
I love that. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Number 3.
Video number 3. Distorting the record.
I'm Dr. Heidi Sikora. I'm the Chief Scientific Officer for the International Plant and Herbal Alliance. I'm standing outside the office of the Medical Examiner of the state of Utah. Throughout my healthcare career, whether working with patients or teaching future healthcare professionals, the most important principle has always been the same: provide accurate and truthful information. That principle was violated on November 19, 2025, when Senator Mike McKell distorted sworn testimony from Utah's medical examiner, brazenly claiming Kratom alone caused numerous fatalities, when he did not listen to what the medical examiner actually said. I listened carefully to that testimony, and the truth that Senator McKell distorted, is exactly what the Food and Drug Administration and the National Institutes on Drug Abuse have stated for years. Kratom-related deaths are rare, and when they do occur, they almost always involve polydrug use or adulterated products. The medical examiner and her deputy also testified that a spike in fatalities occurred at the same time a chemically manipulated synthetic drug entered the market, falsely calling itself Kratom, known as 7-hydroxymitragynine, or 7-OH. Senator McKell glossed over that critical fact, instead blamed natural Kratom, fundamentally misleading the committee. What he didn't tell the committee, and this is the truth, is that on July 29, 2025, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary publicly called on the Drug Enforcement Administration to classify 7-OH as a Schedule I substance. They also made it very clear they are not focused on natural Kratom leaf products. Senator McKell has openly stated that he has taken on a Kratom product liability case and wants political payback against the original sponsor of Utah's Kratom Consumer Protection Act, a law that is actually protecting consumers.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, y'all.
I love it.
So he's taken on a Kratom liability case. This makes sense on why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, we always know that there's an ulterior motive, and obviously that's his. I dropped the link in the comments, Jen, if you want to. But I guess they're going to be going on like news channels.
I don't know. I'm not sure how these are going to be released. If they're going to like go, it would be cool if it went nationwide onto the commercials.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how they could do, what avenue they go to do that. But I'm going to clip these up and I'm going to post them up on my platforms. I suggest y'all do the same things.
This is huge. Dude, I love Dr. Heidi. I didn't even think about it. She's like, I'm Dr. Heidi Sikora. I'm like, oh!
I know. It's like Dr. Heidi Sikora entered the chat. Those were freaking amazing. Man,
I mean,
the
ones he put out were awful. I mean, they were just full of misinformation and lies, and yikes.
And we watched that hearing that McKell attended, and it was just our jaws were dropped. Like there were certain questions he was asked that he couldn't even answer, or like Dr. Heidi said, glossed over, like it
Yep.
was no big deal. You know?
Made it
Oh
up. You
man.
could tell he was just making stuff up. Like it was Louisiana 2.0.
It was.
awful.
And if you don't know, McKell and Senator Jay Morris from Louisiana, they're linked up now.
Yep.
They're in bed together. Thanks to our opposition group, our ops, who
Yeah.
themselves are trying to get major payouts as well. Yeah. So
At the cost of many.
Yep. So yeah, y'all need to get on board. Y'all need to wake up. You need to. Do you want to put Laura's
I was just
email
about
address
to
on
do
there?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we need advocates. We truly need advocates in every state. It is popping off right now. And people think, you know what pisses me off is that people will accuse the AKA, oh, this is the reason why, the AKA is the reason why we're getting bans everywhere. No, this is called state legislation sessions have started back up.
Yeah.
This is what that's called. It happens every year. The AKA is not the reason why. Yeah, there it is.
Put on both of those. Yeah. Send your name, your city, and your state to laura@plantsandherbals.org and, start. I mean,
Laura is who you just watched.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be
Laura.
a hell of a year.
Yeah. And it's already popping off. I don't like to go over what's happening publicly because our
Yeah.
ops love us. They love us. Hi, guys. So I ain't going to talk about it publicly. Yeah. Hi. What's up?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So
Like their news station.
So email, Laura, who we just watched at the beginning of the show, and who we just watched the video from Utah.
She's killing
Targeting
it out
McHale.
there. Yeah.
Yes. And we will collect your name, and we put y'all in blocks is what we do. And whenever there's an alert coming out, we will send you out an email on what to do next. And get involved. And whenever we say this, we're not necessarily saying get involved so that you can go to the state capitol or anything like that, although that would be preferred when it
There's
happens.
stuff you can do if you can't travel. That's completely. But I mean, you can send emails, write, or make phone calls. I mean, there's still stuff that you can do even if you can't travel. Because I understand,
Yes.
like, everybody can't travel. Some people physically can't do it. Some people have kids at home. Whatever the situation is. But you can do your part to make your voice heard.
And it's just as simple as like Jen just said, send an email, call your rep, anything something
Yeah.
that simple. Because we have seen with our own 4 eyes.
Yeah.
We have seen legislators change their mind in the middle of a hearing
Yeah.
based on people sending emails. And it is just so magical to see it. Fucking magical. Like my tapestry says.
Yes.
Because our voices matter. Our voices matter.
I mean, they really do. I've seen it time and time again. But when you don't, it's the time when they don't hear from anybody. They think, well, who's it really affecting? This isn't really affecting anybody. So what's it matter? If they're getting pushed to ban something and they don't hear any pushback from it, of course, they're just, well, I'll just go with these people that are pushing me to do this because it's obviously not affecting anybody.
Yeah. Tracy, are you the one in New York? We know a lot of Tracys, just like we know a lot of Jens. We know a lot of Jennifers. But I just wanted to clarify to see if you're the lady from New York.
I think she is. I think you're the one that messaged me the other day. But yeah, again, we do know a lot of Tracys. I actually have a sister-in-law named Tracy as well. So it's like I know a lot of Tracys. There used to be a lot of Jennifers out, but I haven't really met any. But yeah, I mean, those were amazing, amazing commercials. I guess they're commercials or whatever you want to call them.
They were professionally done.
Yeah. I love the music too. Like all of them,
Yeah.
they were just great. Great.
I hope the
All
music
right.
don't get us copyrighted.
Oh, surely not. I mean, if they used it for that, surely not. I guess we'll find out when we upload it or
Yeah.
when it uploads to YouTube.
Hold on, I'm waiting for Tracy to answer.
I'm so glad that we ended up streaming on yours because mine was like glitchy and I was like, oh God, but it didn't mess up.
Yeah.
I love how it shows on your X. Like it's like the background and everything. It's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, blends into the same color.
You're because you have this background on here?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? I
Heck yeah.
guess. But it's just cool how it like automatically does it. Oh, there goes my cat.
There goes your cat.
She's excited about the commercials. She's like, those are awesome.
Well, I don't know if Tracy dropped off or what, but if you're the Tracy from New York, just kind of like verify that with Jen, with this Jen. I turned my camera around so that
Oh,
so my shit's off. But yeah, so yep, we need advocates. Send your emails, your name, city, and state to laura@plantsandherbals.org. And we'll see y'all on the next slide. Be looking out on my platforms for these freaking awesome YouTube.
yeah.
I mean, not YouTube, Utah.
And share.
videos.
Share. Yeah. All right. I hope
Okay.
everybody has a good evening, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yep. Bye, everybody.